Dutch, get over here and dance with me.
This is America. You can always cut a deal.
I think that helps the immersion of the game, is the fact that we as performers get to really dance with each other, you know?
Welcome everyone to New York Comic Con. We have a ton of amazing, and if I may say so, very attractive performers on stage with us today. So I would love to know if you could all tell us how you found your character's voice.
So first of all, they're very tight rock star with their information. So when I showed up to work, I had no idea that I was even in a Western. But there were some people there. Rob was there, Roger was there, and I noticed they had some accents going on. And I was like, so is this Southern? They were like, just kind of follow what they're doing. So that's how I sort of came up with the fact that she had a little accent. But then with Susan, as soon as I realized that she needed to keep people in line to keep everyone safe, we dropped into a little of that hard love where maybe she makes a few corrections with her hands. And that's how I found her voice.
I've been working on my accent kind of my entire life. No, just like Kaili, we had no idea what we were auditioning for. So I guess, I just went in there. If I memorized everything, I thought, I'm doing this the best I can. Let's see if I can spit all this out.
Untitled video game project. That's what they're all called, by the way.
I guess I was told Sean was Irish on day one, and of course I'm from County Cork in Ireland, where we sound really, really nice and sweet, just like Cillian Murphy and people like that. And I was told that Sean was a bit of a smart arse and he was a bit full of himself. So immediately I went to all my uncles who live in Dublin. And they all kind of start sounding a bit more like that, like hard men kind of walking around.
I think I had the same experience where we came in and I'm like, I don't know what's going on. I'm from Detroit originally, and they say we sound Southern a little bit. So I was like, okay, well, I think Tilly's got a little bit of Southern swing, but I listened to everyone that was doing the scenes already, so that's how I got it.
I came in and I was like, oh, he kind of had a little sort of sound like this. And the director was like, what the fuck are you doing? And he said, go talk to Ben. And so I spent a little bit of time with Ben, and Ben kind of eventually helped me come up with the Micah voice that you guys all know. So Ben is really the one that helped me find that voice. Yeah.
Who in the cast is most likely to actually survive in that type of scenario?
That's fair.
You know what? I bet Curzon would hold his own. I'm not kidding you. Curzon still plays hockey. And he broke his leg at one point and didn't know it. And so he walked around for a couple weeks or a month or whatever, and then finally got an x-ray, right? Am I telling this right?
You're telling it right, my friend. You are. I love it. Keep it up.
Was it like exploring this character that just wanted to do the right thing before he passed away?
Oh, yeah. I mean, it obviously, the beauty of the game is it gives you so much freedom as to how to play it, And most people play, I think, high honor, right? I always go for high honor because I don't like the bounty hunters are annoying when you're low honor. But yeah, I think when Arthur, spoilers, but when he does get that diagnosis, I think it does change his perspective on life, absolutely. And it's from that point where it gives him a different viewpoint, and he tries to change and help and do what little he can with the time that he has left. And Sister Calderon helps him make that decision. And yeah, I mean, it was so beautifully written. And I'm not saying that because the owner was one of the writers. It genuinely was beautifully written. So it was just a joy to work on with a great script.
I want to ask, what was it like having to get into that character and what mindset you had to be in and how you did it?
That's actually a question I was meaning to ask you. I hadn't gotten around to it. So.
Thanks, Peter. Thanks. Well, I think one of the things I really like about Charles is I think he's made a lot of mistakes, and his wisdom comes from having done terrible things in his past that we don't get to see, and he's trying to do better. And so I think you get to see a lot of Charles's restraint, but he has a limit. And when he hits that limit, it's over. And I think finding that line for him was fun, especially because I think so much of what happens in this new family that he has tests that patience like over and over and over. And a couple of times I think he takes it out on people that maybe aren't fully deserving of it, but it's the safer way for him to let it out.
What have your favorite impressions of your characters been since the game came out? And before you answer, we are not criminals. We are outlaws.
Well, I respect your moxie. But I really haven't heard a good one yet. That was pretty close, though.
I think I'm dying somewhere.
I've heard some really good ones. They're all over TikTok and whatnot, you know. I really admire it. I mean, it's one of the biggest compliments you can get, isn't it, I guess, right? And I'm just so grateful they found me before they found some of you. Although some of the better ones I've heard probably would have been 12 or 13 when we started working on it, so maybe, yeah. But some of you guys, man, some of you pretty damn good. Yeah.
Well, I guess to all of you, which are your favorite voice lines that you guys have done?
Or favorite performances, because it's
Yeah,
a
or
fully
favorite
integrated
anything.
performance.
Or favorite quotes, rather.
Mine, I guess for me, it would be Dutch, get over here and dance with me. I don't know if you remember that moment in the game.
Probably at the camp.
But yeah, then we dance and...
You know, I've actually seen some people think that's legit now. They think that that's an actual legitimate cut scene.
What do you mean they think
It's
legit?
edited
It is
out of the
legit.
game. Peter first started this stuff in Kuwait. He gave some interview where he's doing a slow dance with Dutch and the snow is gently
Oh, it was
falling
beautiful.
down.
It was beautiful.
And people now think that that was genuinely cut from the game. Which it was, of course.
I've heard that you still can find it, though.
The gramophone was playing, right, Ben? Remember?
Yeah.
How could I forget?
No, we spent all day that day dancing. You know, because they had to get it just right. Anyway, someone else can finish answering the question. Go on.
I did get to dance with Kaili Vernoff for a day, and that was magnificent. I do have this voice lines. I've heard this before. I call it dialogue, right? It's just dialogue, just to be persnickety, which is my preferred mode.
So what's your favorite line?
Piece of dialogue.
I'll tell you, this is America. You can always cut a deal. I was so certain on the day that we recorded that, like a jackass, I said, that's going to be in the trailer. It was not.
If your characters existed in modern day, what kind of careers do you think they would have?
Careers. Brain surgeon.
What's weird is I was gonna say forensic psychologist. Yeah. Also, maybe like a Dexter at night situation.
Probably a professional dog walker or a sex worker.
No, just kidding. That's the highlight. That's the headline that's coming out of this panel.
Yeah, dominatrix.
Sure.
Sure it is.
Yes, it is. Do you want to find out?
I die of laughter every time I just go around with one of you two just terrorizing people's, like, you know, regular lives. What is your best, like, voice lines or just conversations for the Greek re-antagonize?
I like, you smell like your shit took a shit. And sometimes, you know, I'll be taking selfies with you guys at the table and I'll whisper that into their ear. And it gets a big smile, except this one time the kid didn't know it was from the game and he like, yeah, and he thought he smelled, you know, and he was like, why would you say that? I'm like, oh, no, guy, it's from the game, you smell fine. But that didn't make a good selfie that time. The poor kid. I felt awful, yeah. Now you just made me feel awful again. But it is pretty funny.
What would you say is your favorite motion capture scene to do from the production?
Ooh, when Grimshaw throws Tilly after she says, "This don't feel right, Miss Grimshaw." And she says, "Get back to work. Don't nobody care about you." I'm like, ah! It was so cool because we had to work that out kind of like a stage combat situation. It was really, really cool. I liked it. I like being thrown to the floor.
Wow. I had a similar throwing moment. It was I think it was actually the first thing I shot on the stage. Like, I didn't know what was happening. And so you guys know the scene where Micah antagonizes Charles and throws him and is like, "Eat that!" Right? So originally that was Steve, who plays Bill. And so I didn't know him. No one there knew me. And they were like, "So he's going to say some heinous racist shit to you and you're going to launch him across the room." And I was like, okay. Like, and we've got like, these huge HMC antlers sticking out and everything. And I was like, "So are we taking these off or what are we doing?" They're like, no, we need the face. I was like, okay. So Steve, you want to turn your head to the right? I'll turn my head to the right. And that way our antlers don't lock, And Tempest came in. He was like, no. We want to keep it as real as possible. So just do whatever. And I was like, I'm going to wreck some shit. And he was like, "It's fine." I turned to Video Village and I was like, "I'm going to wreck them." And they were like, "It's fine." And I told Rod, I was like, "I'm going to break some shit." He's like, "It's fine." And I was like, okay. Action. Boom! And I threw Steve almost past the mat. Both of our cameras came together and like our helmets exploded. And so like when I walk up to him, I'm like, "Eat that!" And my HMC camera is just like, whoop, 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 whoop. And like there's a real long pause and then they're like, T-pose, and I'm like, I'm fucking fired.
But I had this amazing scene partner to bounce off of, and I think that helps the immersion of the game, is the fact that we as performers get to really dance with each other, and we get off our book and we learn our lines and we're performing and playing with each other, and Rockstar hired such wonderful actors. I think they hire the most actors in all of Northeast, don't they? I think there was about 1,000 cast members on Red Dead 2. And we had the luxury of working with most of them. And thank you. I'm so glad that you liked that scene. I was thrilled when I first read it because it was the first time I had ever seen a cowboy admit that he was scared of dying. And I just thought that vulnerability was a really cool thing to explore. But yeah, it was all her. I have to. Someone know her name? Has anybody Googled it? She's a wonderful actor, and I was really, really lucky to work with her.